Hi, and welcome to TXDZNY. On today's show, I'm going to be talking about my Christmas Day at Hollywood Studios. So, on day two, Christmas Day, for our Walt Disney World trip, we decided we wanted to go to Hollywood Studios. The reason we chose this is we really want to do Epcot day one just because that was really accessible to the Swan and Dolphin, and kind of the same thing for day two. And we figured Magic Kingdom would be way, way too crowded on Christmas Day. So we figured we'd save Hollywood Studios for this day, and it seemed like it was a perfect decision that we did make. I feel like out of all of our recent trips to Walt Disney World, I'm literally talking any trip that we've had since we've had kids and stuff like that, that we probably maximize this day given the time frame that we were going and how crowded the crowds were supposed to be. This was probably the most we've ever maximized a day inside a Walt Disney World park. I'll tell you everything that we did in the day, and you'll be able to see that we pretty much did everything we wanted to do for our Hollywood Studios Christmas Day. Now, we knew that we wanted to try to take advantage of the early park entry for the Disney resort guests as often as we could for these 5 days. Obviously, we couldn't do it on the first day because it was our travel day, but we really wanted to try to do every day that we could for the rest of the trip. So this was, of all the days, the hardest day to wake up. As I said, we woke up really early on Christmas Eve and went to bed rather later after the fireworks. Um, but we were still ready to wake up and we're totally ready to have a great Christmas day. We were so excited. The kids were so excited. They had so many rides that they really like at Hollywood Studios that they were pumped up for. So it really was going to make for a very magical Christmas day at Hollywood Studios. So as I said, we got on the Lightning Lane and the individual Lightning Lane for every day that we were there. The Lightning Lanes we chose for this day were we got afternoon rides for Toy Story Mania and Slinky Dog. And then my kids really like Star Tours, and so they wanted to do that. And we did that as soon as the park was going to open. We really want to get Tower of Terror, something like that. My daughter has been on Tower of Terror several times. My son has been tall enough for it the last couple times we visited, but he said he didn't want to go. We asked them pre-trip before we when we told them that we were going and we were seeing what rides they wanted to go on, and they both said they really didn't want to go on Tower of Terror. So we weren't going to make them. So that's why we didn't. That chose Star Tours instead of a ride like Tower of Terror or something like that. Remember, these rides are tiered at Epcot, Hollywood Studios, and Magic Kingdom. So you can't just book whatever you want. You can only book one in tier one and then the other two in tier two. We also got our individual Lightning Lane for Rise of the Resistance for even later in the afternoon. So we had our four rides that we were ready to go on, but we had a really good game plan on how we were going to attack this day, and it really worked out great. As I said, since we love staying in that Epcot resort area, the walk from the Swan to Hollywood Studios is a breeze. The Swan has a great little breakfast place right there in the lobby that you can grab coffee and breakfast. You could even pre-order where it's ready for you, even if it's a crowded time and there's a line, you can still just walk up and get it. So we did that every morning and just gave the kids a breakfast on the walk over, and it's really accessible where you can leave in your hotel and you're at Hollywood Studios in about 10 minutes. So it makes it very easy to where if you're staying at a non walkable distance hotel to the Epcot or Hollywood Studios, you have to factor in those bus times and everything like that. But if you're just walking, it makes it really good. We found that all these mornings that we were walking into the park with the extra magic hours for 30 minutes early, the lines were very light, where there weren't a lot of people doing that. Maybe because they were for this day. Obviously, it was Christmas morning, so probably a lot of people still doing Christmas with their families. But the morning time at Hollywood Studios was rather light crowds. So once we got into Hollywood Studios, our plan was to go ride on Mickey's Runaway Railway. We were confident that we maybe get a lightning lane as soon as we canceled that Star Tours, but we figured we'd just go check in the morning because we already had Slinky Dog and Rise of the Resistance for later in the day. But Mickey's Runaway Railway was closed. It was shut down. They were having difficulties with the ride, so we couldn't ride that in the morning. So we had to switch our plans. This is something that people have to be a little open-minded about and kind of switch. And it wound up making for one of our better decisions that we did. So we said, hey, why don't we just go over and check out Slinky Dog and see what the wait time was showing on the app that it was only like a 15-minute wait. So we walked over to Slinky Dog, and sure enough, it said it was only about a 30-minute wait. So we said, hey, why don't we just ride it now, stand by, and then we'll ride again later. So that's what we did, and sure enough, it was actually only about a 10-minute wait to get on Slinky Dog. So that was nice to do early in the morning. And then we had Toy Story Mania already for that day, but we didn't have the Alien Saucers ride, and there was a 0 wait time for that. So right when we got off for Slinky Dog, we went and rode Alien Saucers. So we banged out those two Toy Story rides before even the park actually opened. So by the time we finished those two Toy Story rides, it was time for our lightning lane for Star Tours. Now, I'm not a big fan of Star Tours. Some of those virtual rides I don't really love. So sometimes I'll skip out on them. My wife doesn't mind them. A lot of times we're traveling with the group, and a lot of people don't mind. So if we have other people that can go on, I'll skip it. If the kids absolutely want me to go on it, I'll go on it. It's not like I'll get sick or anything. I just don't love them. So since my wife's like, hey, I'll go take them. Why don't you go ride a couple of the other rides? Rock and Roller Coaster is a single rider, and Tower of Terror was showing a very low wait time. A little trick that we do that I'm sure lots of people do, but since I had a lightning lane for Star Tours because I didn't want to separate myself from the rest of my family and just move mine for Tower of Terror for that morning and then trying to link everybody back up. I just figured I'd keep it at Star Tours and walk on Tower of Terror. So I just gave my Magic Band to my wife so she could scan it at Star Tours so it would cancel out our Star Tours one once they got through, and then we can make a new Lightning Lane, which she did for Mickey's Runaway Railway. And so that made it where that ride was up and going by the time we did all that. And so we were able to get that Lightning Lane for Mickey's Runaway Railway. So while they went on Star Tours, I went over to and did a single rider for Rock and Roller Coaster. I've never been on Rock and Roller Coaster as fast as I have for this. When I walked over there, walked up the single rider line, and as soon as I walked in, the pre-show was ending with Aerosmith. And so I just walked straight through. I didn't even have to sit through any of the pre-show, and then walked straight in line. And there was only two people in front of me for the single rider, and they let them both on the next cart, and then I was in the next vehicle. So I think I waited approximately 1 minute to get on Rock and Roller Coaster, and this is right when Park was opening. So this was single rider right when Park was opening. So that was a very fast way for me to ride Rock and Roller Coaster, which was great because that ride's closing soon. So as soon as I popped out, I called my wife. I said, "Hey, are you guys still on Star Tour?" She said that they were about to get on, and Tower of Terror was only showing a 15-minute wait. So I went and hopped on the standby line for Tower of Terror. I got through that line in only about 5 or 10 minutes, and sure enough, once I got into where the elevators all are, they were yelling if any singles were available, and so I raised my hand and they brought me right up. So I think I rode that ride once we got into the elevator area in about a minute or two. I was in my seat. So I rode both Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower of Terror within probably about a 20-minute time frame. So factoring the 30 minutes before the park opened and the first 30 minutes of when the park opened for regular guests, I had already rode Slinky Dog, Rock and Roller Coaster, Tower of Terror, and Alien Saucers, which was crazy. So in less than an hour, I rode all four of those rides, with three of them being some of the most popular rides in the whole park. So being that I was over there on Sunset Boulevard by Tower of Terror, I told my wife right when I got off, and she had already done a mobile order with Fairfax Fare. They over there do Mickey waffles and bacon. So she put a mobile order in. So right when I got off at Tower of Terror, it was waiting for me. I said I was there, and the food was ready. And they just finished Star Tours, and they were over by waiting for the next Frozen show, or the first Frozen show of the day. So I was meeting them over there, and so the kids can go eat some Mickey waffles and some bacon before getting into the show for the Frozen Ever After show. We love this live Frozen show, especially even more during the holidays. They do a little additional scene for the holidays, and it's really good. My daughter's favorite Disney character is Elsa, so it's always a big hit for her. My son loves Olaf and Kristoff, so it's always a great show. We never skip that show every single time we go to Hollywood Studios. So you're talking within the first hour and a half of the day, we did a good portion of what was in the park already. So my daughter is 6 and my son's 4. He turns 5 here soon. They We took them after the Frozen show to go do the Disney Junior Dance Party. I do feel like our time of them enjoying this is going to be coming down to an end here soon. So it was really nice to see them really enjoy that Disney Junior Dance Party. It is really good for them to get rid of some of them wiggles and stuff that they have to let loose for a little bit and dance and see some of their favorite Disney Junior characters while dancing and really enjoying a whole entire, almost like a dance party type vibe in there. If your kids are a little bit older, they're not going to enjoy it, but I feel like when your kids are in that, like, probably 7, 8 years old or younger, and 7, 8's probably pushing it. Like I said, my daughter's 6 and she still enjoy it, but I think only another time or two she might like it. It's really enjoyable for little kids who do watch Disney Junior. So by the time we did Frozen and the Disney Junior Dance Party, it was time for our Mickey's Runaway Railway Lightning Lane. We love this ride, and we were able to hop right on. And the kids love this ride. We love this ride. It's always a classic that we kind of like. That. Yes, I do miss a great movie ride, but yes, I do love the Mickey's Runaway Railway. So just add that to another ride that this was before probably 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and we have rode already all these rides and seen a couple shows already. This also allowed us, once we canceled out the Mickey's Runaway Railway Lightning Lane, we were able to get Millennium Falcon bookended with our Rise of the Resistance for later in the day. So this made it to where we had every single ride that we wanted to get at Hollywood Studios. We had gotten Lightning Lanes or have rode all of them already. So after Mickey's Runaway Railway, we did hit up the Baseline Tap House. This is a must every time we go to Hollywood Studios. I love sitting here and getting the charcuterie board and having a couple beers there at the Baseline Tap House. We had great weather for this whole entire trip, where it was really, really nice, like shorts and t-shirt weather during the day. But when the sun would go down, you maybe had to switch to long sleeve. But it was beautiful weather, sunny. I don't think it rained one raindrop the whole 5 days that we were at Walt Disney World. So it was beautiful to sit there on the patio. My kids don't love the charcuterie board there, so my wife went and got them pizza Rizzo while I sat with them, and we just kind of hung out, and they ate their pizza on the patio at Baseline while me and my wife had the charcuterie board and had a couple drinks. It was a good little way. We were in no hurry that day since we already did so much, and we already had our lightning lanes and individual lightning lanes lined up for later in the day. So we were able just to sit down and relax. This is the best way that we like doing our Disney parks, is where we line up our days where we've set ourselves up for success, where we've done everything and still had some relaxed time as well. So we really love enjoying that Baseline Tap House as a little midday break to just have a couple beers or something. So after relaxing at the Baseline Tap House for a little bit, it was time for our Toy Story Land rides. So we had Slinky Dog and Toy Story Mania back to back, with Toy Story Mania actually being first. We love doing these games as like a little family thing where we're playing against each other. So we already had it where I was going to be playing against my son for Toy Story Mania, but when we went to Magic Kingdom, I was going to play against my daughter for Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger Spin. So for Toy Story Mania, me and my son went against each other, and he gets super competitive. He's a really athletic kid, loves sports, so he gets really competitive. So it's really fun to enjoy that ride with him. And Toy Story is one of his favorite movies, and my daughter loves it as well. So that's always a fun ride for us. And then obviously we were super pumped to get to ride on Slinky Dog again. I mean, a lot of people can't get even on Slinky Dog once through a day. So we felt very fortunate to be able to ride it a second time for a day, and pretty much not have to wait online pretty much at all for either one of the rides times that we rode it. So this is one of our favorites at Hollywood Studios, and the kids love Slinky Dog. It's a very smooth roller coaster for them, and it has great views and everything like that. And like I said, it's one of their favorite movies. So we were really excited to get to do both those Toy Story rides back to back right there in the middle of the day on Christmas Day. So we had a little bit more of a little break in our day after the Toy Story rides, where we had a little bit of time to kill. So we just, my wife went over there, kind of that right behind Mickey's Runaway Railway and going towards Toy Story Land. You know, they have that coffee shop there. I think it's a Joffrey's over there, and they have a beer stand and stuff like that. If you go further down that little alleyway there, they have a lot of Pixar characters down there. Normally, I have 3 or 4 Pixar characters do meet and greets there. And we happened to peek down there when we finished going off our Toy Story rides. And sure enough, Sully, Mrs. Incredible, and Joy were out there with pretty much no lines for any of them. Sully had maybe like 3 people ahead of us, and there was no one in line for Mrs. Incredible and Joy. So I took the kids over there when my wife went and got a coffee, and we wound up going and meeting Sully, Mrs. Incredible, and Joy all right in a row within a span of just a few minutes. And the kids really, really enjoyed that because there was pretty much no one in line. They gave them a little bit of extra time of hanging out and talking to them and being really, really warm and cuddly with them and everything like that. I feel like that's a little area that some people don't know what's down in that area, so that's something to keep in mind. It's not just during Christmas they have that area open. They do change the characters that'll be in that area um, throughout the year, but for that Christmas season, it was Sully, Mrs. Incredible, and Joy. So don't skip out on that area if you kids really want to meet some Pixar characters. Well, we had that little break during the day to go after the Toy Story rides. We were waiting because we had Oga's Canteen um, reservation. I have been in there a couple times with just me and like my brother-in-law or a friend or something like that. But my wife's never been in, and my kids have never been. So they really want to go in there just to kind of see what it was like in there. Me and my wife figured we'd have a drink or two. My daughter did get the Jello with like the rock pops and stuff like that they serve in there. So we went into Oga's and just enjoyed the ambiance there. My son really liked the DJ there. He was bobbing his head like the DJ the whole entire time. It was a cool little vibe where we just stood there and had a drink or two. And the kids seemed to enjoy it, even though it was just like a bar setting. They were okay hanging out there for a good 15, 30 minutes while me and my wife had a drink or two before we were going to hop and go on some of the Star Wars rides that we had lightning lanes and individual lightning lanes for. So after we left Oga's, it was time for a Rise of the Resistance lightning lane. So we went over there. My son has yet to ride Rise of the Resistance. Last trip he was tall enough for it, but he didn't want to go on it. My daughter did. So we went on it. So she'd been on it and she liked it. But my son and my daughter are both very brave. They didn't say no to pretty much anything. The only ride that they said no to the whole entire trip was Tower of Terror. Everything else they were game for. So they went on Rise of the Resistance and they absolutely loved it. Oddly, we bookended that with right after we got off Rise. It was our Smuggler's Run Millennium Falcon Lightning Lane as well. So we went on that, and we want to make sure that since the four of us go on it, that we let the kids be the pilots. And they absolutely loved being the pilots. Where they, at the end, pretty much everyone I kind of know says that they enjoy Rise of the Resistance more than they like Smuggler's Run. But the kids for sure say that they like Smuggler's Run more than they like Rise of the Resistance. And I think that was because they were the pilots and they felt like they were having a little bit, it was almost like a video game kind of for them. So that's something good to think about if you're having your kids go with you on Smuggler's Run, to let your kids be the pilots and they will enjoy the experience a lot more than if they were just sitting in the back as like an engineer or something like that. But they absolutely loved both those Star Wars land rides, and they loved the bar of Oga's as well. So after we finished all that, it was starting to get to where it was like dusk. It's getting right around that 5 p.m. time frame. My wife had already said earlier that day that she really wasn't too fond of sticking around and watching Fantasmic. We see Fantasmic pretty much every time that we go to Hollywood Studios, so it's not like something that was a big time miss. I do absolutely love Fantasmic. I figure that the crowds to get into those shows can be, especially the early show, can be really crowded. And my wife really didn't want to mess around with that. Keep in mind that the day before this, we woke up really, really early for our flight, and we did stay awake for fireworks, and we woke up early to rope drop at Hollywood Studios on Christmas Day. So she was kind of fond of, hey, why don't we just skip out on Fantasmic tonight and get a good night's sleep, because we were having an early morning on the 26th. So all I told my wife was, hey, I'm okay with skipping Fantasmic. The two main things I really want to soak in on Christmas Day was, as soon as it got dark, to watch those projections on the Tower of Terror, mixed with some of the Snope and all that ambience down Sunset Boulevard. And I really love the whole Echo Lake area over there with the Christmas tree and all that 80s and 90s kind of Christmas decor over there. So those are the two things I want to stick around for to see on Christmas Day once the sun went down. I really want to see how beautiful those two areas were. So she was more than happy to do. She just didn't want to stay for the whole entire fireworks show and fight those crowds for Fantasmic. We did debate this evening, since it was Christmas night. We were debating maybe going back to the Swan and the Dolphin area, and they have some good restaurants over there, and those dining options were open. But like I said, the kids were getting tired. My wife was tired and everything like that. We figured we were going to go back and try to sit down the kids for a whole really, really nice dinner. So what we did instead is we did a quick service over there at Rosie's All-American Cafe on Sunset Boulevard, right over there close to Tower of Terror. And they have, your chicken nuggets, chicken strips. They have salads. They have cheeseburgers and stuff like that. So that's what we did. I got a bacon cheeseburger. I think my wife got a salad, and the kids had chicken nuggets. And we just sat there and got one of those outside tables where you had a great view of the Tower of Terror when the projection started. And we sat there and just kind of set up shop. The kids ate their dinner. We got dessert there and everything, and had a great view for when that projections of on Tower of Terror got started as soon as the sun went down. I went and got my wife and me a drink as soon as the show started there on the Tower of Terror, and we just sat there and watched for about 15, 20 minutes. The show kind of loops there throughout the evening. So we just kind of sat there for about two of the go-arounds of it while the kids ate and just had a beer or two and kind of enjoy the whole ambiance. I mean, like I said, it is Christmas Day, and to just kind of soak up all those great Christmas feels being at Walt Disney World at Hollywood Studios on Christmas Day. So then once after we finished that, like I said, wanted to go head over to Echo Lake. So we wound up going over to Echo Lake and going and doing some pictures over there and really just enjoying I love that reflection you get off of from the Christmas tree over there at Echo Lake. I love, like I said, the 80s and 90s decor over there. It was a great little vibe on Christmas Day, and just see that walk down the exiting the park on Hollywood Studios. I really do love that park. It's probably one of my favorite parks, not my favorite park during the Christmas time, just because I love the decor throughout the Hollywood Studios park. So as I said, we really maximize this day. We pretty, at least for me, I rode every single ride I want to ride there at Hollywood Studios. We even tried getting my wife on Rock and Roller Coaster for her to do single rider midday, but she said the line was too long. I didn't think it was too long, but she said she didn't want to wait on it. Well, we could even have done that while I sat there and just hung out with the kids like she did when I rode it. But we really rode everything and really got some good relaxed time on this day. It was a very, very uncrowded day for Hollywood Studios on Christmas Day. So keep that in mind, that I would 100% do that again. And I don't know if it's just Christmas Day at maybe inside the parks that aren't very crowded. Because last year when we went, it was our travel day, Christmas Day. And we went to Disney Springs just for dinner, and it was a madhouse at Disney Springs on Christmas Day. But inside Hollywood Studios, it was very uncrowded and a very enjoyable day on Christmas Day. So keep that in mind if you're thinking of which park to maybe go to on Christmas Day instead of Magic Kingdom or something like that. Once again, as a huge perk of staying over there in that at the Swan was that it was a quick little 10-minute walk back to the hotel. The kids, like I said, were very, very tired. So we just, as soon as we walked back to the hotel, they had like the little grab and go. Me and my wife grabbed ourselves a bottle of wine, and because it was still pretty early for us, the kids were kind of tired. And we went back up to the room. Since we had time, we gave the kids showers, and they pretty much fell asleep as soon as their heads hit the pillow. But we still had time to where me and my wife still want to hang out. So our room there at the Swan does have a view of, like I said, the back of Epcot and the back of Hollywood Studios. So me and her sat right by the window and were able to watch the Epcot fireworks and a little bit of the Hollywood Studios fireworks watching out the window, which was really, really enjoyable for us. And we still got to bed at a really, really good time because we had a long day coming up on that 26th. So overall, I'd say Hollywood Studios on Christmas Day was a huge success. Like I said, I think it was one of the most we've ever maximized a full day at Hollywood Studios, maybe even a Disney park in quite some time with two little kids. We, like I said, did everything that we wanted to do, and even had some time for some downtime and just relax. And the kids were stress-free, we were stress-free, and had an overall great Christmas day at Hollywood Studios at Walt Disney World. So that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye.